Good morning, everybody. It is once again the first Friday of the month. Believe it or not, this is the sixth month that we've been doing this. This is number six of our mentoring call. And today we've got a great guest, Michael Wallace. We're going to get him on here in just a moment. Just remember that all of these calls, as well as our podcast, are available for you to find out there. A podcast hosted by Eric Kloss is on Spotify, Apple, and both these mentoring calls as well as the podcast you can find on the YouTube Tennessee EMS Educators Association YouTube channel. Go out there right now if you haven't already. Subscribe to those channels, and then you can listen to these. We've also taken some of these clips and made shorts out of them. Feel free to share those with your staff and others as well. So this morning we have with us Michael Wallace. Michael is no stranger to the state and other states as well. He is the EMS chief of Williamson Health. Michael has held numerous leadership positions over the past years in his career. And we've got a great topic that probably is no stranger to anyone on this call that deals with workplace drama. So Michael, let's get started here. We're going to talk about confronting one of the decade's greatest EMS challenges, which is what? Drama. So I gotta tell everybody, I always enjoy getting ready for these calls because I learn so many neat things from some of our guests. And one of the things that Michael shared with me as we were preparing for this is that he once had a almost an all-out brawl in a management meeting stemming from drama. It all started from a styrofoam cup, a simple styrofoam cup in your management meeting nearly resulted in a fist fight amongst management. Tell us about that, and let's get started.
Absolutely. It's just it's humorous now, as you can imagine. It was not humorous when this occurred, which was several years ago. But it's such a great example just to share with everybody. To be fast and concise, we had actually been training together, leadership development for many months. And one of the topics absolutely was drama in the workplace and really just focusing on leading by example, etc. And what occurred in this case obviously wasn't just in the moment. It built up over time, which is almost always the case of more explosive situations. But the command staff had received some brand new vehicles, which they were in desperate need of. Field supervisory vehicles, and they were very proud of them. And someone had gotten a big gulp styrofoam cup of Coke or whatever their flavor was, and set it in the console, which was surrounded, of course, by $100,000 worth of radios and equipment. And the styrofoam cup broke, and Coke went everywhere. The kicker was nobody owned it and nobody cleaned it up. And so they were talking about this amongst themselves, and it ultimately led to this bold declaration that we're going to have to ban the use of styrofoam cups, and you're going to have to bring a metal container, like a Yeti cup or something like that you could seal your drinks. And having a perfectly reasonable conversation, but there was so much emotion attached to this particular issue. It really nearly spun out of control amongst senior leaders. There's a whole team of senior leadership staff, all very seasoned individuals. But the emotion, and we probably should talk about that here in just a few minutes, but the emotion got the best of them, and situation spun out of control. And it was significant enough that I literally had to put a stop to the conversation, because they were actually about to, the vibe was blows were about to occur. Red faces, lots of emotion, lots of drama. And certainly it's funny now, but it wasn't funny back then. And yes, I've talked to that team about that. It wasn't where I'm at now, but and we all kind of laugh about it now, but it's easy to occur. Drama in the workplace is a routine issue. It's usually not to that level and not about styrofoam cups, but I like to affectionately call that the great styrofoam cup debacle of whatever year it was.
Well, definitely thank you for sharing that. And one of the things that you and I talked about is, we as EMS providers, we understand what a scale from 1 to 10 is, but in the drama world, it's really more of a scale of 100,000 to 1 million. And that sounds like you were at the 1 million there with the styrofoam cup and things that really didn't even matter. And Michael, I think everybody can relate. There's really like, five major signs of drama in your workplace. And just kind of going through, I mean, if you have a lot of gossip and rumors going on in your work environment, that's a great sign that you probably got some drama. Cliques and exclusions, we've all seen those things like, frequent conflicts, low morale, low productivity, or a lack of wanting to be productive, excessive, complaining and whining. Those are probably the top five of the signs that we could find in workplace. Drill down for us. What are some core problems with drama in the workplace, and do you have some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. And you tapped on some interesting things. Again, we said, just a minute ago, the extreme examples, we're that's obvious to all of us, right? Bullying, violence, um, just extreme levels of incivility, hate, extremism, harassment, things like that. That's a no-brainer. We all know that that's
Mhm.
completely unacceptable. But what's more prevalent, excuse me, is some of the more subtle things like you mentioned, which I think most of us experience as a matter of routine. And it's some of the things like gossip and rumors and just misinformation or negativity, extreme levels of negativity. How about this one? Exaggerating the truth or
Mhm.
reality, right? Making polarizing statements. That's something that's become incredibly prevalent over the last decade, especially with the advent of rapid communication, social media, text messaging. The list goes on and on. We've gotten so much more free with what we say, and not consider empathy and the other person, and even making subtle statements as over time. It's not like it's a one-time thing, it's an all the time thing. And when there's this constant hum of just even gentle or subtle incivility or misinformation or negativity that's constantly always running in the background from certain individuals, it really it takes an emotional toll on the entire organization. And as leaders, we certainly have a responsibility for that. We've got to lead through that as well and show and model even a better way.
Yeah, yeah. And what happens as a leader, Michael, and you and I kind of talked about this as we were getting ready for this, and for all the other leaders out there on the call, what happens is I call these little monkeys. Little monkeys. I always had this little concept of little monkeys. So, all this drama, all this gossip, all this cliques and bullying and frequent conflicts and low morale and productivity and excessive whining and complaining. I talk about in our leadership program, everything arises and falls on leadership. So all this stuff comes back to the leader's office, and I call them monkeys. Not the individuals. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not calling the individuals monkeys, but what they bring in with the gossip and all the whining and the complaining and low productivity is all these little problems become monkeys that are just dancing around on your desk. And you as the leader are sitting in your seat or you're standing or wherever you're having this conversation, and the individuals are, all these problems just become little monkeys, and before you know it, you feel your whole day, you feel your whole office, you feel your whole desk, you feel your whole world with all these little dancing, bouncing monkeys, and now you're consumed, you're overwhelmed. You as a leader, have so many other things to deal with, but now you've got all that. So, we as leaders have to make sure that we're recognizing and we're cutting these things out. But at the end of the conversation, you got to try to somehow or another get your people to a place to where they can carry those monkeys back out with them. Otherwise, you will spend your entire day dealing with these things. Now, certainly I am not saying brush it under the rug and don't deal with it. You have to deal with it because it just compounds. But you also can't deal with it all by yourself. So, these workplace drama things will definitely take over your entire day. And I love to refer back to some of the previous speakers and guests that we've had. And Jeff Davis had a quote that he said he likes to use: "Culture eats vision for lunch." You got to create a culture that doesn't create all the drama or all those extra monkeys that become your world. That you got to have a good culture as well. So good discussion here. What are some other, something else you and I talked about is, as leaders, we own the outcome.
Mm.
What we permit, we promote. So as leaders, we gotta cut to the chase. We got to get those little dancing monkeys to a place to where they're not dancing anymore, and things are back to normal, as they say. We gotta get that increased productivity back up. We gotta, eliminate that turnover, and then, eliminate any kind of damaging things. So what are some other thoughts that you have for us here on some of your experiences with drama?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you tapped onto something that's worth pausing on for just a moment, and that's let's break this down just a little bit. So I love, yes, we talked about this, that as a leader, you own the outcome, period. If you can't accept that reality, then you're probably not a leader.
Hmm.
It's so vital that you own the outcome. Now, the truth is, in our world in EMS, we need each person in the organization to be a leader, regardless of their title. And so we all own the outcome. But as the leader or a top leader in the organization, we own the outcome on this, including with drama. And so, there's not a magic switch that we're going to flip and cure systemic problems with drama overnight. However, the secret sauce really is over the long term. And are you, as the leader, modeling not only yourself, the opposite of drama, calm, cool, collective, factual, contributing to professionalism behaviors that make a difference from that standpoint, but are you also holding your team to that standard and coaching and developing others? And here, big point of contention here is, are we actively talking about professional behavior and expectations in our leadership development with the whole team? It's not a one-time subject either, or a 5-minute class. It's an all the time subject.
Hmm.
In EMS, we do a great job of focusing on training on things like clinical knowledge and skills and competencies and things like that. Well, number one, most important skill that we have as leaders and as clinicians is our behavior, our leadership skills. It sets the tone for everything that we do. You can't be a great clinician um, or a leader if you've got bad behavior, or if you're fostering drama or incivility or whatever attributes you want to tie that to, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
No, it's worth saying, we talked about this too quickly. It's worth saying, you don't have to take my word for it on this topic. Look, the literature on this subject is overwhelming. Just do a quick Google Scholar search on professional behavior or incivility in the workplace, drama in the workplace, you'll find there's literally 500,000 probably strong peer-reviewed research evidence-based articles out there on the effects of this. And one last kind of closing thought before we move on to whatever else you would like to talk about is it's in EMS, it's important for us to realize that the literature has proven this to us. We talk about evidence-based medicine, right?
Mhm.
The truth is there is a direct correlation between bad behavior or drama or incivility and poor patient outcomes.
Mhm.
And the opposite is also true. So those leaders and clinicians who have exceptional professional behavior have better patient outcomes. The literature has proven this over and over and over and over again. So it's a powerful reality for us to get our heads around.
Right, absolutely. A direct correlation between good and bad outcomes for patients, good and bad outcomes for reimbursement and revenue cycle. I mean, it all connects. And if the workplace drama is not handled correctly, it definitely can lead to several negative outcomes that affect both the service, the organization, and its employees. And one of the sayings that I have over the years is I have this little saying. It says, Joe got to go. Sometimes there's individuals and they may be good people, but for whatever reason, they tend to be the individuals who stir it up and keep it stirred up. And you just as a leader, you have to definitely sort those out and go, I can allow this to happen and I can promote it and I can just keep my organization and my service just going down and constant turnover, constant drama, constant gossip, constant, stress on me, constant, all these extra is like I said, I refer to the little monkeys, in my life, or I can make a very hard decision that says, I realize we got a huge shortage right now, but these individuals have to find other placement, outside of our organization. And a lot of times that may be the solution. And we talk about in our leadership class, our low, medium, and high performers. And these the folks that I refer to could always be in that low area there. And if you don't remove the individuals or the problem that's causing it, it will certainly spread like a cancer throughout your whole service. And now you've got a fire, and now you've got a lot of things. As we're getting closer to the end of this, these calls always go by so fast. Everybody, feel free to think about your questions you have for Michael, and put those in the chat. We'll get to those here in a few minutes, but I want to offer up some key solutions here to our group to think about if you are dealing with this in your workplace. One solution is just, and Michael's already talked about it. Have open communications. With conflict resolution, you have to hit it head on. The worst thing that you can do in conflict resolution, conflict in your service, is just ignore it. Because the more you ignore it, the worse it's going to get. So, if you've got drama in your workplace, open up the communications. Now, how you do that, you need to think about it. There's a lot of scenarios there that we unfortunately don't have time to get into, but I would say definitely open up the communications. It's not always a good idea to do it in a mass group. It may be much better most of the time to do it in a very small group, because sometimes if you open up in a big group, then you just create a gasoline on a bigger fire. You may have to have multiple little meetings of open communications before you kind of drill down. So that's something to think about. The other thing is, as a leader, set clear expectations in your organization. Hey guys, hey ladies, we are going to do this, but also be informed. Don't just make a decision uninformed, because sometimes knowing what's going on, I always say that there's always some truth in the matter of this drama. You just got to weed through and dig in and find out. It's kind of like that 100,000 to 1 million. It really may not be even 100,000. Just dig in there to find out what that real problem is before you make the expectations and the directions, just so you can be informed. And then also address these things very early, because the more that they go on, the longer it's going to get. Those are three things there. We can certainly talk about some more, but Michael, anything you want to add to those solutions? Open communication, set clear expectation, and address these issues very early on. Anything else you want to add for the folks here?
Yeah, those are all great ones. And again, I can't say it enough. We must model from the get-go and at all times professional behaviors, expectations, even in the hiring process. We should make it very well known that your culture does not support unprofessional behavior, and what those expectations are. The more you craft that kind of environment, the more you attract like-minded individuals, which is what most providers want, is a really warm, welcoming, thoughtful, caring environment. It's very mission driven, focused on what we do. That's why we're all here, right? To take care of patients and not necessarily to be focused on ourselves and extreme behaviors like that. So it's important to model those behaviors and expectations very openly from the beginning and through the entire process. And then, as you said, address issues quickly. I like what you tapped into as well about it doesn't mean you just shut people down that are involved with drama, but certainly taking the time to listen and give feedback and then guide them to a better place. At some point, you have to escalate if it's not being managed well and it's continuing to occur, and you do have to take other actions. But that's the goal should always be to foster an environment that helps every employee, every team member to grow and have a healthy, highly professional, successful career. And to do that, we got to give them feedback and
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a part of the
absolutely.
solution.
Absolutely. And one more solution to add to what we've talked about here, again, promoting open communications, setting clear expectations, addressing earlier, as Michael said, make sure you have a culture that fosters professionalism. Another one is focus on team building. I don't think we take that to heart most of the time. Organizations should always promote team building. Regular team building activities can really resolve a lot of bad tensions amongst each other. We get to know one another, or individuals get to know how other people think. My value is not the same as your value, and your strength is not the same as my strength. And sometimes, that really can help as well. So good things. So let's look at our questions here and see if we've got some questions in the chat room. Feel free to start adding those. It is 23 after the hour. We want to give everybody a chance to ask questions. Let me just kind of check our chat for just one quick moment. Okay, so we have one here. It says, can you provide reference literature by name, author, and publication? I would love to read those studies and understand the information.
I saw that pop up. It's a great question, and I can't do that off the top of my head, but and happy to sidebar with anybody and talk you through how to find great references. But if I was going to give you a quick answer, Google Scholar is always your friend. Just pop in a few keywords into Google Scholar, not a traditional Google search, but a Google Scholar search, and you can put in things like workplace drama and healthcare if you want to make it, or even EMS specifically. Put in keywords like that, and you'll quickly get a vast array of references. And then you kind of got to weed through those references and look for quality peer-reviewed journals. Not everything that you'll find there will be peer reviewed, but it's there. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence, and so that's a fast answer. Happy to sidebar with anybody and help walk you through how to do a lit review if you would like that.
Yeah, and if you would like to put your email or contact information in the chat, or send it to myself or Jason or someone that can get it over to me. I'd be more than happy to get that to Michael, connect you guys together so that you can, get some of those research papers in particular. All right, so let's look here, see if we got some other questions coming in. All right. So here's a great question, Michael. It's a really good question. What are some of your tactics that you found to be helpful in dealing with workplace drama in your service or in some of your previous organizations that you've worked in?
This is going to sound overly simplified, but I honestly think number one, top of the list, is just openly discussing this subject, professional behavior and expectations, and openly discussing drama, and not in the moment. Yes, that's important too, but you can't really do that in a group setting. We don't want to call an individual out in a group setting, of course, but as you're, just daily leading, this being a routine topic begins to emphasize how important it really is. And then you can figure out over time how to spin in more meaningful, in-depth conversations, training sessions, etc., books, articles, all kinds of resources that you can provide on the subject. But it's really about the prevalence of discussing it and making it a common expectation, just like we would say every day, providing high quality patient care is number one. Same is true of this, or safety is a number one topic always, right? There's a direct correlation in professional behavior. So that really is it's a simplified statement, but my number one recommendation would be, you're also would be routinely communicating it and modeling it yourself. You got to be very careful to model those expectations.
Yeah, 100%. Just addressing that head on and getting down to the root cause and eliminate it. And I've got the contact information for the previous question, and I'll get that to you as well and connect you guys together. All right. Let's look here. Any other questions before we? Okay, it looks like we got one. Here's one here. It says, any good books you would recommend that really deal with the workplace drama? Any books in particular that you are reading or have read?
Yep.
Workplace drama.
There's several great ones out there. The most recent one I just read a few months ago that I thought was fantastic, that's also evidence-based, is a book by Cy Wakeman. It's called No Ego, and it's all about drama in the workplace, and it's a fantastic read. So I highly encourage it.
All right, good information here. Well, it's already 28 minutes past the hour, and I feel like we just got started. There's so much information to share with this. I want to thank everybody for joining again today. Please mark your calendars to come back next month, October the 4th. We'll have Brian Carlson. He's the vice president at Vanderbilt Medical Center. And we're going to be probably talking about psychological safety and a leader's role in creating it. So I'm super excited about that one. Please come back for that one. Remember that all of these, including this one, will be posted on YouTube channel, Tennessee EMS Educators Association. The podcasts are there. All the mentoring calls are also there. And of course, the podcasts are on Apple and Spotify as well. And as we wrap up today, remember the most important person that you ever lead is yourself.